You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. It's moments and times like right now why I know I set out each week to provide some relevant, thought-provoking content, because as people, we're challenged all the time with stuff: life, work, family, friendships, relationships, all essence of things. We're all in the same paradigm, just different experiences, different aspects, different decisions. But we're all truly dealing with this journey of life. And in this journey of life, you're going to have times when you're going to be subjected to things or moments or times that sometimes will try to manhandle you, if you will, if you let it. But that does not mean that the challenges don't come. The thing that I've known for a very long time, the more you go at things, the higher levels of things that you approach or seek, it comes along with additional things. If you're seeking out different types of relationships, partnerships, business, economic or employment opportunities, there poses challenges because you're not the only one vying for it. So what do you do when you're faced with those kind of obstacles or circumstances or situations? You work to push through. And when I tell you today is by far the latest I've ever had recorded content for today. It is still Monday, but when I tell you it's late, it's late. But I was determined to stick to my calendar and the schedule of what this show has impactively done. I do apologize. It might be late, but it's definitely got a purpose. Let's go, y'all. Sonny's Monday Motivation. No matter the time or the season, we're open and available 24/7. Shouldn't your dealership be too? Carumba.com, the convenient online used vehicle marketplace. Register your independent dealership now. Being in an airport is a place that gives such a great underlying opportunity to study and look at human behavior, if you will. Everybody primarily coming in and out of the airport is on a mission. And I'm sitting here right now, which is a big part of the reason why this content is going up so late. I've had an extremely busy day. And I was determined to make sure that this content was captured and properly centered on the message that I want to share with you guys today. I have some words. You know how you just have some words that just make you feel good to utilize them or to hear them or the symbolization of them. And one of those two words, because there's many words that I do have such infatuations of, but there's two words that today stood out to me in the motion of things, and it just kept coming in forms of people, places, things, circumstances, you name it. It was just showing up. And those two words for us today in our discussion of this particular podcast is perseverance and resilience. What I love about the occupation of these words, I'm going to share, let's just start off and kind of give a definition of each one. So resilience is defined as an ability to recover from or adjust easily to misfortune or change. And perseverance is defined as the continued effort to do or achieve something despite difficulties, failure, or opposition. So if you're listening to this, by far, you probably have had some encounterments of both of these essences of words in your life. If you've been showing up and being in this world as a human being, across the variation of life circumstances, I'm pretty sure you've been tested in some or both of these capacities in so many ways, right? And if you haven't, just keep at it. It'll come and it'll show its face. The thing that I find about them when I mention that, I can say that I have a reverence of them, is that I can just totally embody the essence of these words in the path of my life, past, current, and I'm sure in the future, just because I know who I am and how I move and the things that I do. Because I'm always seeking and challenging myself and educating and moving towards goals and ambitions. So you're just bound to run into something, some type of obstacle, some type of challenge, some levels of difficulty. They show up, and when they do, how you respond, how your essence of your reaction to those things, how you combat them, your reflex, if you would, that I've had this thing that I call a adversity muscle. When you've dealt with enough challenges or have had things that you've gone after, you're going to learn real quick a lot of times what you're made of. How can you stand in the midst of a storm? How can you bounce back from a setback? How can you, make room for yourself in the midst of something that could be chaotic? Can I tell you guys, like today, I didn't even open my eyes good. And 5:30 this morning, my time, Pacific time, I had messages coming in, delivering news and updates. And then I got hit with another message and another level of something else at 7:10 this morning. Then so it just kept coming. And in the midst of that, I was exhausted. First of all, guys, everybody knows yesterday, March 12th, time change. And prior to that time change, we had a full moon going on, probably about a week and a half or so before we got into the time change. So if you're kind of in touch with certain things like that, you'll know that those things were occurring. But in the midst of that, you may not have identified that for most people, most of everybody I talked to in that time period were talking about how tired they were. And the full moon cast so much energy to the point that I was exhausted before the time change even happened. And then when the time change hit, I was scrambling and adjusting in ways in which I had to just kind of go with it because, of course, time sprang forward. And I'm not going to lie, I love the longer days of sunlight. So I'm not complaining about the time change. But I'm definitely making reverence of how it affected me, right? And so as the day was going into the night and into the mid early waking hours of the early morning. So I'm clocking past midnight, 1, 2, 3, so I can't begin to tell you how absolutely exhausted I was when my morning hit today, to a point where I could not even function. It was so rough. But even in that, I recognized I had stuff I needed to do. Even tonight, I'm making this broadcast right now happen and, delivering this content. And it's been a challenge. I had to tuck away somewhere where I could get the opportunity to get the capture of this audio. And not only that, but to open my mind up to even speak and communicate where my mind had been in regards to delivering this information. So for you guys, I'm like, I know that I'm probably speaking something at some time, even maybe right now, you're experiencing something that may be challenging you, giving you a high level of difficulty, or is putting you through a test. And, I think that sometimes we are working toward getting through and pushing through it. And sometimes it's meant for us to be in it and to learn something while we're in it, as well as maybe apply something while we're in it. Or maybe sometimes you need to pull back. So I'm not giving a one level layered aspect or approach. I am saying that be aware, be conscious of your own movements, the things that are happening, how they're happening, and how things around you may look. Even sometimes people, it could be a coworker, it could be a partner, a spouse, your pastor, your church family, your work family, your kids, It could be anybody objectively that can make connection to you, even if it's over the phone, even if it's a complete stranger that may have called you to collect a bill. And, we're all shooting off these airwaves of where we are and where our energy is. And sometimes, I was having a conversation earlier today how, sometimes people are going through their own motion of things and you might intersect in the midst of it. And sometimes you catch it. And, how do you respond to it? Sometimes it's identified to you. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes there's just things that are happening that is causing that person to either be cranky, short, moody, angry, excited, happy. It's so many various levels of emotional scale that I'm not going to examine them all. But my point is sometimes it's not even about you. Or sometimes there is a shadow of the situation that may have something to do, but how do you deal with it, right? So I can recall earlier today feeling like I just want to shut out. And one of the things I have challenges with is that ideally I'm a very happy, jovial person. I can be real silly. I can be serious. I can be business minded. I can be social, and it can happen in the course of a day. All of that could happen in the course of a day, but there's just different modes and spaces and times, right? And then for me, I actually have more challenges sometimes being dismissive in a sense, or short about something, or maybe my tolerance has kind of vacuumed away from whatever's going on. And so today I had some challenges that was kind of happening, and the energy of it was making me feel like, I had to kind of stop for a second and recognize that this is not the sum of a situation that involves me to have to dedicate myself to another level in it. Honestly, I really have I almost have to go rogue emotionally. I was describing this earlier today, to not give a shit, I'm not a person that goes quick to that or is a default to that, but I'm learning more than ever. Sometimes I don't need to give a shit. I don't need to give one good hot goddamn, right? Because I need to remove the emotion out of it. And I'm not saying that it's the other person. Maybe it's me. I got to maybe remove my emotion out of how I'm reacting or participating in connection to somebody. And it may not be the other person's responsibility of that. It may be just me needing to, pull it together and say, you know what, this situation really does not deserve more attention than what maybe this moment is. And if I'm allowing my emotions to scatter more or to give more precedence to this or more segmented attention to it, that maybe it's subtracting from me an area I don't need to subtract from. So literally, I found myself today having to say, nope, this is not even more important than. It's not even more important than. So because it's not even more important than, back up, let it go, and roll. And literally, I found myself telling myself, yo, it is okay. Because right now, you don't have to give a shit. Like, it was one of those days, one of those moments. And I had to say, it's okay to say that too, Sonny. It's cool. Just because you're giving motivational messages don't mean that you don't feel shit. You get what I'm saying, guys? Listen, sometimes you got to say, you know what? This ain't worth me giving more to. And it just makes you feel like you're objectifying more if you do participate. Not saying ignore it, not saying not give a response, but sometimes it just needs to get a minute of whatever it needs to be given and then roll and let it go. And so today, that's been my position. That's been a lot of how I've had to ebb and flow. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm working on this thing called me, and I'm working to get to a point where I'm not even making excuses for the moment of maybe where I am or how it's going. Maybe it is what it is because that's just where the shit lies. And maybe I just got to dig it out and recarve it, or you sweep it away, clean it up, throw it away, distinguish it, flush it, something. But recognize that sometimes it ain't even worth you giving it any part of you. So, resilience and perseverance, they matter. They matter in so many more ways than we can. Sometimes we don't even allow ourselves to see. We're doing some superpower He-Man shit day to day, moment to moment a lot of times. Just being a parent, maybe being a spouse, maybe being a sibling, maybe being a coworker, maybe being a church member. Something within you was enough to validate your presence in the moment of whatever it is that you had to face. Now, it's up to you to discover how you're going to occupy the space, time, and measurement that the person is going to get of you, or you're going to give of it. I am so done. I appreciate this time, and this is literally the end of this broadcast. Y'all have love and light. Be purposeful and live in the moment and project what it is you're going for. Y'all get it. Peace. You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. This episode is sponsored by loudmouth.com, the #1 small business online network. We're putting the word out about small business. Put your business on the referral network online that wants to put the word out about you. 30.7 million small businesses in the U.S., creating 1.5 million jobs annually. Small business accounts for 64% of new job creation in the U.S. There's strength in numbers. No matter what we face, know that there's strength in us. Because of you, we're able, we're capable, we're resilient. And we are available because we are small business. And together, we're the economy. You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network.